left to right. Because remember when I was standing here, I'm saying the progression is emergent, letter name, within word. But within letter name, that's a progression too. So you don't have to try to check everything that has a score of 3 or below, just whichever one is furthest to the left. Okay, so like my friend up here, and they actually came up here back to back on the same child. This is Paddington Bear. So if you go to Paddington Bear real quickly, even if you've not graded it. So what they have here is they marked it off, and so if you go to the bottom, there's a score of 3, 5, 3, 2, 4. We're good so far? So we always go from left to right. Just like when we read, we go from left to right. So I'm going to go to A. Oops, I see a 3. I need to check it because any score of 3 or below, I'm going to check to make sure they really need my help in that area. So here's a score of 3, beginning and ending sound. And you're going to find, y'all, have you noticed that there's a pattern, fed and rub? And it's usually towards the end because they're also getting tired at this point, which is scary for a 5th grade child writing 25 words, actually 6th grade. So here, there's the beginning, there's the ending. We talked about this earlier. Here's the beginning, here's the ending because of that silent E. Do I need to work with Paddington Bear on how words begin and end? No. Plus, you don't need, if you just look at his spelling, he has the beginning and final sound. But anyway, we double check that. So I go to 3, then I go, do I need to check 5? No. So then I go to C. C, I have mud, mod to mud. And then down here, I have fat to fit. Yes. Does Paddington Bear need my help? Yes. So what I do is I say, this is my starting point. I don't need to worry about D right now because I've already found my instructional level. Just like the DRA, I found my instructional level. I've got to start at C first, and then the progression is going to allow me to move to the next pattern. Okay? You're going to drive yourself crazy if you go to C, then you go to D, then you go to each letter. Just once you find the lowest level of development, which is our instructional level, you stop because you've already figured out what the point is that you need to start. Okay? This is Paddington Bear. Divide and conquer. You don't have to grade all of them. Thank you.
Are you want to speak front and back?
No. Just front. Yeah, just front.
What is that?
PLAN.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second 3.
Yes.
You know how he missed 2?
Mm-hmm.
So even if
We just go to the first one to the left. Like this one, he's got the pattern, but this one he needed help with. I don't need to worry about the 2 because it's a progression from left to right. So that would be be a 4, so it would be fine. He doesn't have to have a perfect score. Yeah. We go back to the 4 and 5 as mastery.
So we have a question. When we're grading it,
our own individual.
Mm-hmm.
the other line, for example, the E, the
Mm-hmm.
SH,
That's your pattern. That's your
Yes,
step
pattern.
2.
as long as they have that, we count it correct?
You don't count it. No, you don't count it. You only grade it right or wrong. Step 1, right or wrong. Okay? Is it right? Is it wrong? Where you're looking whether or not they need pattern is when you're trying to figure out where am I going to teach them. That's when I bold and red. Bold and red.
So we need to go back next year.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
This one, we counted it as wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought if they got the SH, and
Yeah.
we could count it against it.
But they didn't get SH. Yeah. You did when you wrote it. Is it a different one?
Yeah. They had the S in it and they put the S on it.
Mm-hmm.
We still wrote out the correct one, but we ended up
Because remember, step one is the word right or is it wrong? It's wrong because that's not ship, that says ships.
Okay.
Now, if you're checking to see whether or not they need your help on it, that's when you look for the pattern.
So we don't mark it wrong.
You mark it wrong, it's wrong.
Okay.
Because that's not the word that you're trying to have them spell. They have apostrophe S.
Okay.
The first part is it right or is it wrong?
Down here.
Yeah, because it's wrong.
Okay.
Is it right or is it wrong? That's it. You're not looking for pattern until you're trying to see if the score is of 3 or below. Okay. Yeah. Isn't it amazing though that an hour and a half, that's why I purposely put this right between the time you go to lunch and you leave for lunch. Because if I don't, and I do all of this before we go to lunch and then I move on to instructional, when you get back to your classroom, some of that information's already lost. That's why I have you go back now and say, okay, let's revisit. So again, if you think in your mind, step one is just, is it right or is it wrong? Don't worry about patterns yet. Is it right or is it wrong? And then that's what you're going to continue to mark on the bottom. Now if you're trying to figure out where's my starting point, that's when you look at the pattern. There's several of us that are walking around, so if you have questions, raise your hand. This is the time to ask. I would rather have you ask questions, even though it seems silly to you, rather than go back to your classroom and have you redo everything. Okay?
So even if they mastered it, like you got above 20, if he needs help with this, you still start here, even if they
Well,
mastered it?
they mastered it, so my question for you is, you as a classroom teacher feel okay that he doesn't have that pattern?
I guess it would depend on the rest of the class.
Exactly.
If there's a bunch of people.
Exactly, yeah. It would be a teacher decision at that point. Because you're going to know your kids. Right now you just have words on a paper, okay? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're fine, yes. Yeah, that's it. And it actually supports it because they also have score of 20. Okay. Okay, I'm hearing questions. Now, when we enter our scores to the chart, it's exactly what you have on your paper. That goes in there. Yeah, that's just for you. That's plan. That's PLAN. Yeah. Red R Hood is very, very difficult to read. Yeah. That's his H. If you look at his H. Yeah. Look at his H's. It looks like K's. Yeah.
The letters that are underlined, but you're paying attention to the beginning and end.
It depends on what pattern you're looking at. The beginning and end is only for A because this one says initial and final sounds. For this one, for you to determine what you're going to teach them. That's the pattern. Yeah, because that's what they're testing for on that one. Some of them you'll see at the beginning.
Oh, so it depends on the word.
Yes.
It's underlying.
So this one is the beginning, this one is the end, this one's the beginning. They're saying that they can look at anything. They don't have to have both. They're looking at the beginning or ending of that.
You were looking to see if they had mastered it. If they got the R, but they didn't get the B, would you still give them a check for that?
It's because that's what you're checking for there. Like, do you have an example for me? Yeah.
One of them earlier, after looking at head, and said they have an F, and he's like,
Yeah. I just do that because I just want to check for both. Yeah. You guys have choices right now. You have choices. You can look at this and go, man, this really sucks. I don't get it, and I'm just going to sit here and just be done with it. Or you can say, I'm going to try to figure this out because regardless if I leave here or not, I'm still going to be using this tool in my classroom, and somebody is having to hold me accountable for it. It's something that we're tracking as a district. That's why I collect these from our district, because I want to know if We are truly doing this with fidelity because I can guarantee you the teachers that are using it with fidelity are seeing the results with their students. And to me, it's not about passing star. That's the least of my concern. It's getting kids to be able to read and write before they get to the next grade level. Because when I did my literacy stations yesterday, what I was telling them is I'm begging them to read with their kids every day. I'm begging them to read with their kids every day because we have campuses that have 5th grade students where 100% of their kids are reading below grade level, a year or more behind. If we're able to, in the grades 1, 2, and 3, able to do a little piece of this, this is going to go ahead and impact your students' reading and writing. I promise you. But you've got to be able to work through this part first. So if you've got a question, ask your question. Because otherwise you're going to go back to your classroom, you're going to end up doing it wrong, and then you're going to come back and say that thing didn't work. So if you have questions, please ask them. I'm here to clarify for you. Marcia is here. Marcia's taking over this training for me, and so that she's able to go ahead. So she knows this as well, so she can help you as well. So if there's something that's confusing, I purposely put this before and after lunch. Just an hour you step away, you start to see that there's pieces where maybe you didn't really have a very strong understanding of. Okay.
Curious. Okay, the A is the initial and final sounds.
Yeah, and
so,
really it's just the initial, how they underlined it.
So then, so I wouldn't need
No,
to
you
work.
wouldn't need to.
Okay, because it's just the initial.
You got it.
Okay.
You got it. Good job. I'm going to come back to you. I saw this hand go up first.
I heard you say bold and red,
Uh-huh.
but I checked this too, and it checks out. Like,
Let's see. You're 2. Okay, so did they have blends? So here we have TH, SH. So you're fine.
but you have it.
Do I have it bolded and down there?
Just highlighted, but not red. So I was wondering.
It just automatically highlights it. That's how I have it set up.
But I wouldn't
Any score?
read it.
No, because you just said you don't need that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you won't bold and red that one.
So which one am I focusing on? Because I can't tell by seeing the handwriting.
Okay, so let's go ahead and go to a 3. Let's look at the A's. Where are your A's? Right here, right? They have an F and a D. They have an R and B, so you're good. So now let's look at blends. So let's look at our B. There's nothing there. Okay. There's PL. That's actually plan. PLAN.
Oh, see, I didn't
Yeah.
know what that was.
Yes.
Okay, so now this changes to a
3.
3.
Yeah. And so PL there, but see that there's not even a word there. And then GARB, so they don't have it. So that's the first place you would work with them on. Yeah. Don't worry about all these other ones because you're going from left to right. It's a progression. So you're going from left to right. So you check this off, you're good. Oops, that's where I'm starting. Circle that, and that's what you're going to bold and red on your chart.
So even if their score was more than 20, will you still move them? Like they're having
Okay, let's look and see. It doesn't matter. That's they don't have to have a perfect score to move them. 20 or above. Yes.
Okay, so what do we do with that?
It's the teacher. I haven't gotten to within word. You're only doing letter name right now. The teacher called it out wrong. Yeah. See? Cute bridge. Cute bridge. It's a classroom teacher. They went off of order. But I would grade them on the word, not the order that they have them. Yes, sweetheart. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes. Let's look at this. What are they wanting me to look at?
Oh.
G.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're good.
all right.
Uh-huh. I'm coming.
Okay. They're looking for the vowel sound. They got it, but they're just looking
but it's not, they don't have it
They don't.
because
They're
that's a long
looking-
vowel
yes.
pattern. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how about this for strip?
No, because they have the, yeah, they need to have, yeah, when the minute they put a letter before and after that, then they don't have it. Yeah, we're not trying to see if they have it within it. Do they have the pattern? So like if you look at C for bet, what letter is underlined? The E. They have an EA, so they don't have that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Miss Kia.
Quick question. We got a good question.
Okay.
I say, and I think Ms. Mitchell, we say the
Yes.
same thing. She didn't get that one.
No.
Because we're looking at the short vowel sound.
Yes.
And even though it's the E, that's nice.
Yeah, we're not looking for the E, we're looking for the short vowel.
sound. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
Yes. Yes.
And do you step-by-step instruction sometimes for some of the other teachers? But you have to know this step-by-step. No problem. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And if you write it up, then can you share it with me so we can share it with everybody? Yeah.
They got the L.
Nope. A short vowel versus long vowel. Missed it. Yeah, now you're going to borrow each other's information.
So I'm just wondering, like for my own class, if I started here and then had to go down, even though they mastered the level, do I still start them at a C?
Does she need, did you look at their paper to see whether or not she needs help? She needs help on C? Yeah, it looks like.
They mastered the level, still
Yeah,
start
it really is up to you because I had somebody else ask that earlier. Even though they've mastered the whole level, do you as a teacher feel like they really got short vowel patterns? Then if you do, then move them up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where your professional teacher judgment and knowing your kids. These babies in Mrs. Nelson's class, we don't know them.
Right.
So we don't have any history, but for you, especially now that we're in the 6th and 5th school, my guess is you can say this baby they've got their short vowel. I don't know why they didn't get it because they should be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and unbold this, and I'm going to just bold and red this one here because that's where I want their starting point to be.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of flexibility with it.
I just have one question. So like right here, let's pretend that one vowel pattern is right and one vowel pattern is wrong. Still, this is still the instructional level.
No, because then if they've got one of these wrong, they really got 4 right in that pattern, so they don't really need my help with it.
But what if they spelled the word?
We're just looking at the pattern then, if we're trying to find an instructional level.
Oh, that's the sex step too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the next thing, whenever this is my real
Yes,
student.
yes, I see that.
So see, this is August, and she did WW, just
Uh-huh.
like they said,
Uh-huh.
and
This is
I
beautiful
wasn't
school.
there.
What grade do you teach?
third.
That's nice.
No, but listen, I wasn't at Wendy's training when she told us about word journeys, so I read the book, and the book said
Does it differently? Yeah.
But then I went and asked Wendy, and she said scoring correctly patterns right.
Yeah.
That's wrong. So I went back and scored the correct pattern was right, and that's what I got. And right now I did the green, which is how you told me, and you can see how well.
Yes, a little bit yeah.
But she's at an H.
Yes.
She's at a 20.
Yes.
So this was September 17th, Vanya,
Uh-huh.
how I did the next stage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so right here, the green,
Uh-huh.
she scored totally low.
Yes.
So I have to stay on WW.
You got it.
But she's at, so she needs help with
You got it.
vowels.
Yes. Yes.
But our question was, how do we test everybody on Friday on one
I'll go through that with you.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. We'll get the instructional piece.
Is that an apostrophe? Does she count?
Let me look at the original. You guys are tough graders over there. I'm going to go talk to her.
only count it wrong if it's the pattern.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay.
Yeah.
So you can see I checked a lot of right, but in reality,
That's not where their kid, yeah.
so
Yeah,
that's
I'll
what I thought lunch like being full campuses to know this.
Yeah. I'll talk to her. Thank you. Which student is it?
Judy B. Jones,
Oh, sweet Junie B. Jones.
number 20 on Judy B.
It is apostrophe.
So it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be wrong.
because we had a discrepancy with what you had up there and what we had.
I probably didn't mark it wrong. No, I did. I marked it right. It should be a 4. Is it this one? That is a T. T.
Look at all his other teeth. They look.
He was getting tired. His pencil is falling off of his hand.
Poor 6th grade little boy.
Yes.
Are these the 5th graders that were in summer school? I've had some of these. I'm looking through these.
Like 2 years ago? 2 years ago. Yeah.
There's still some of mine.
Yeah.
Some who went,
Some of those are probably your students. I just tossed all the other ones.
so this looks like somebody Escamilla.
You're diagnosing them too? Okay, at this point, if you would have done your 2 or 3, now you want to pull the answer from somebody else or just look up here. Okay, how are y'all feeling? Better? Okay. Lots of what ifs. I know. How many of you guys are having to go back to your classroom and fix what you have? Yes. Okay.
Miss Pio Quinto didn't tell me right.
Okay. So maybe it's how it was communicated to you on how to grade it. Okay. Okay. We can.
We actually sat down and had meetings and graded them together.
Okay. Okay. Will you guys do me a favor for those that you're going back? Like, I've already had a group come up to me and say, hey, just FYI, this is how we were trained, and I'm worried that my whole campus is trained this way. If you can just let me know, because that's my opportunity to learn from you all and clarify that. It's not an I tell, I'm not writing anybody up. I'm just wanting to fix it so that we're all on the same page. Okay? So if you get an opportunity during a break and just say, hey, Dickinson's in that position, or Choa's in that position, or I'm just calling campuses, and so is in this position, and then I can go ahead and make sure that I do another training with our I coaches, so we could be on that same page. And it looks like where I need to spend more time with them is on how to score it. Okay. Okay, thank you for that. So looking at the information, I'm going to give you guys just about 1 more minute to kind of copy the information, but ultimately what I want us to look at is this. Because we've done the assessments, now the assessment is done, what does this mean in terms of instruction? And that's where I want to take our time together the rest of the day. And then I'm going to walk you through what does Monday look like, what does Tuesday look like, what does Wednesday look like, and so on. Okay? Give you guys a minute to kind of get your scores down. Of course.
The total was green, so she said I needed to go through and do the
Do the, yeah, just do the whole within word. So now you're going to go and assess, give them this.
Okay.
Just test your whole class.
I did that part.
Mhm.
She said so many of these were green for me to go on to the next stage. Okay.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so I got what you say about going back in the instructional piece that I have to teach. Can I underline this? Would that help me?
Yes.
Like for example, I know he got that part, so
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
have to take it down.
Yes.
And then over here, I know that he didn't get it,
Yes.
and over here he didn't get it, so I don't have to highlight and have to do something.
Yeah. If that's
Okay.
what, yeah.
Okay.
That's perfect.
All right.
And you did that all on your own, problem solving, so I love it. And that makes sense to you. You're going to always remember that. See? Form B. Remember how we labeled your book Form A, Form B? No, that's still Form A because anything that's green, and I'm going to show you guys that in a little bit, what the next part is. Okay? I can come by and stop by if you want me.
What I think I did is, I remember learning last year.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to come back this year because I felt like I needed to.
Yes,
So
yes.
what I think I did when I read this, one of my kids put SHE. I did not count it as wrong.
Because you saw the SH.
Because I saw he got the SH right,
Yeah.
and that's what that letter was testing.
Yeah.
So if that letter, whatever, I would go back and look and say, well, he didn't spell it right, but he got that concept.
Yeah.
Is what the way I was looking
Yeah,
at it. So
yeah.
I did not put an X, but I did go back and put SHI period.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I tallied it down here.
Okay. So
what
you
I'm
really
gonna do-
went to step 2 already,
I think so.
almost simultaneously.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go back.
Okay.
I'm going to regrade them to see
Okay.
if these numbers change, because that will affect
Yes.
things.
Yes.
That might be better.
Yeah, my
Things may be better.
friend over here at Dickinson, she was showing me, she has her kids' papers, and so she started trying it out. Then she would have,
Is that what she did?
yeah, yeah,
Because she counted it right. If they got
yeah.
the
That's what they were trained by their eye coach.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. And sometimes it just is, yes, yes. So, okay, if you can hear me, clap 3 times. If you can hear me, clap 2 times. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things. Assessment. So I said to you before we went to lunch, you would pull page 81, you would give the directions, read it right as it's written on page 81, and then you administer letter name to your whole class. But here's a little bit something that's different in our district. Last year, our 1st and 2nd grade teachers would have used this program, right? And so our 1st grade kids that left last year have actually moved on to, a lot of them are within Word. So my recommendation for you, if you had to do this again, because most of you guys have already tested your students, and my guess is you all started at letter name, and that's fine. But for next year, know that if, just like we do for DRA, we pull EduGence or we pull their Blue Literacy folder and it tells us where to start, you can kind of get a feel for where most of your kids are at. Where that's probably going to make a difference, can I see the hands of my 3rd grade teachers? So for you guys that are in 3rd grade, some of your kids have had it now for 2 years, 1st grade and 2nd grade. So most of our 3rd grade students now in our district have moved away from letter name. And so my guess is in 3rd grade, when you did your assessment and you came from a campus that did it last year and the year before, most of your kids probably did well on letter name. And so that's time you can save, because that already lets us know that most of your kids have already gotten letter name, which is a huge celebration. And then the next part now is within Word. And so in the next couple of years, I'm going to move it so that our 3rd grade start where they need to start, 2nd grade starts where they need to start. And we see the progression. It's going to take us a couple of years to be able to get it to where it needs to be. And so on starting point, know that, and I know it's next year, I know I'll have that conversation at that time, but looking at where the kids left off last year will give you a starting point as well. And probably to me, the most critical piece of that is our 3rd grade teachers. So Miss Nelson, remember, she read the direction, she assessed her whole class, and then she dropped off her testing booklet with us today. And that's what we graded. And we just looked at letter name, right? And so, and you're actually seeing 2 parts here, because really, all you would just see, you wouldn't see this part yet, because these are all the scores that you would just see right now on your paper, right? And so my next step is that any time I see a green here, green means go. So that means I need to go and assess the students at the next stage. So I go to Form A within Word, which is on page 83, I think. Page 83. Okay, so 83. So you would administer page 83. And that's what Miss Nelson did. Except what she did is she knew that she had really 6th graders in her class. So we thought surely they're going to pass letter name and they won't, and we just need to go ahead and go right into within Word. Unfortunately, that's not what we got. So that's where you would go to the next step. so that any of these greens, and so what I've done is I took the greens and graded their papers for you, which is on the back sheet of your paper. We're not going to go ahead and grade that. The process is still the same. You just go to the answer key for within word. So when we look at Miss Nelson's class, when I was all done putting all my information in, I went back and bolded and read, bolded and read, bolded and read the instructional level where I need to teach my students. Okay, so let's look at Miss Nelson's class. Do you guys see the bolded and red? Here, 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 here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students that are really on this stage. Where might you start them? Maybe level B, maybe level C, kind of a midpoint between the kids to the left. I try to go all the way back. I worry about this child here going all the way back, but he got a 3 there. And I know he got the pattern, but it's not going to hurt her either, Amelia Bedelia. So for this class, I would either start with a B or C on one group. This right here, where do you see most of the reds here? F, right? But if I'm a teacher and I'm remembering what MJ said, I'm just learning this program, where can I start my whole class in general? Where is most of my kids at? F. Okay, so if I'm doing one starting point, I'm going to have to ask, where are most of my kids at? Now, that is my recommendation, is find one point. I can guarantee you that probably 75 to 80% of you guys, after the first couple of weeks with it, you're going to go and say, I need to do this in 2 groups, or I need to do this in 3 groups. I have a video clip that I'm going to show you from Garner where she's doing some of these pieces with students, and so that you can kind of see Garner. Do I have any Garner teachers here? They do multiple groups. They do 3 groups for each teacher. And they do theirs a little bit different, okay? And so it really is not about what another teacher is doing, even within your building or another campus. Know that my expectation, the district expectation, is that you start out with one group, try to find where most of your kids fall, and start there. And if you're thinking, well, what's the benefit of that? Because I'm still doing where most of my where the average is, it's much better than just doing word wall words. You're still looking at patterns in your kids, and we're still seeing a direct correlation to their reading and to their writing, okay? So once I'm able to go ahead, and for Miss Nelson, if she could do 2 groups, I would say do a C group and do a F group. And if she says that's way too much, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around guided reading. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around word wall words. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around literacy stations. Can I start off with just doing 1? Yes. And I would say let's start with F then, because that's most of where your kids are at. Okay? Some of these, if you need help just looking at your data and where you should start, the first place to go is your instructional coach. Another place to go is when you come together as a team and plan, look at each other's and talk about and say, where would you go ahead and put this student? And if you have what I call outliers, where say most of her kids were on F and she has 1 student, like say Red R. Hood, which is one of the kids that really struggled with this. If she was all the way here and there was another teacher, like say we were on the same team and you also had an A, I may go ahead and work with you and say, can you get my A? Because I saw that you have a couple of super spellers. I'll take your super spellers if you take my struggling, and then we can switch off maybe after the first 9 weeks and go ahead and do that. If you end up going in that direction where you're partnering up with somebody else, make sure that it's attached to something that happens at the same time every day. So it could be that you do that right after your rotation, your enrichment time, or your specials. What is it that y'all call it? Your time that you go to music, art, specials, okay? So if you go to specials and say you go from 10 to 11 and 11 o'clock is when you get back in the classroom, then find a time that there is something, because what happens is we get caught up in the day-to-day of the classroom, and before you know it, we've skipped that group. So if you're going to do that, it's going to take a little bit of planning, okay? But for here, if I'm going to go ahead and Miss Nelson is going to start on F, what chapter in your book is within Word? Because that F, if I scroll down, is within Word. Remember how we were tabbing? So chapter 5 is letter name. Chapter 6 is within Word. So let's go to chapter 6, because now we have to tell Miss Nelson where she's going to start. Okay, what page are we on?
177.
Okay, thank you. So 177 is chapter 6. So I'm going to keep going. You see on page 179, page 179. Ooh. Page 179, see where it says long vowels with vowel consonant E, feature or pattern F? Is that where we're starting with her? Okay, but what if we were starting at pattern H? Would we start here? No, so we would keep turning the page until we got to H, and I'd say, oh, there's H. That's where I would start off. But what if she decided that she was not going to start at F and she was going to start at C? Where would I go? Go to chapter 5. Okay, so let's go to chapter 5. Here's chapter 5. Here's chapter 5. And I'm going to keep turning my page until I get to what? C. Page 172, pattern C. Uh-huh. So what she's asking me is now, but we're going to go to pattern F, right? Because that's what we want to go ahead and say we want to start with her on. So that was 179. Okay, 179. You guys all see that on your book, right? What do you notice about these words? How are they written down? They're all in uppercase letters, right? They're all capital letters. Whenever each of these words, so anytime you start a new feature, it always starts back at 1. Or not a new feature, a new stage. So the stages go, so if you go to F, it'll start with 1 because that's the first stage within Word. If I jump to syllable juncture, the very first pattern or feature is going to start at sort 1. So it just starts for every of the different stages. Whenever you see this, where it's all in capital letter, it means that the sort, you can do a picture sort on top of it. When it's capital letter, that means you can do a picture sort. So when you go to, and I sent this already because I could not send on Eduphoria all of the files. For some reason, it wasn't allowing me to, so I sent it before we went to lunch. I sent it to your principal, your AP, and your iCoach, and I asked them to send it to you via email. It already has your words on there. And some of you guys are bobbing your head, meaning that you already got it from somebody. Okay, good. So when I go here, it's thinking. See how this is sort 1? Do you see the sort number on the top right-hand corner? And then it has cat, lake, shirt. What is the words that's on your book? Cat, lake, shirt. Those are key words or guide words. Those are your key words or guide words. They provide you keywords and guide words for every single one of your sorts. And here, the picture sorts are brand new to her new book. She never had the picture sort. But what she's realizing is that we can have kids, even in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 5th grade, that still need the phonological awareness piece. They're not ready for phonics part yet. They're still at the phonological awareness piece. I don't know why it's taking a long time, but basically I took these same words and have pictures matching it. Let me see it all. Let me try again. Let me try a C. Oh, because do you see how this is? It says no internet access, that's why. Are you guys having internet issues here? Yes? I'm going to disconnect, and then I'm going to connect. There I am. There it is, okay? So let's see the pictures. So it has cat, lake, shirt, and then I start to put bag and so on. So these are for your kids, even for your language student that you just want them to be able to hear the sounds and the patterns. You're able to go ahead and pull either the picture or the word. You can do either or, you can mix and match depending on your need. But if you're sitting here and you're saying, I teach 4th grade or I teach 3rd grade, and my kids, they don't need the picture. I need to take them right to the words. That's your decision. And if that's the case, then you don't need to use the pictures. You're going to go because these right here in your book, sort 1, sort 2, sort 3, sort 4, sort 5, all of these are picture support. So if you don't want the picture support, go ahead and turn your book to the next page, which is on page 181, and it continues on the sort. Okay? So then it goes to sort 6. So if Mrs. Nelson is a sixth grade teacher and her kids are on F, I'm going to go ahead and recommend to her for her to start working on the word piece. So she would start with sort 6. Okay? You guys with me on that? I'm trying to read your faces. Okay? So here, notice how the key words are no longer capitalized? Because now we're focusing just on the words. On here, sort 1 through 5 are all in capital letter because there's a picture support. And if you notice the word, it's very, very basic too. And this is vowel, consonant, E. And so here we're really just looking at long and short vowel patterns. So if I'm going to go ahead and take them into this and I want them, basically what I'm telling you is just move them to the words unless you have kids that are really low. Okay, so I would start with her, I would recommend to her, just start with sort 6, where you start to look at the specific patterns. So now, week 1, if I'm doing this next week, because tomorrow's Friday, and we just agreed upon that we're going to work on F. So next week, she's going to look at sort 6, and she's going to print that out, and I'll show you what that looks like. The week after that, after she does a whole week of activity with the keywords cap and cape, she's going to go right into sort 7. The week after that, she's going to go into sort 8. The week after that, she's going to go into 9. The week after that, she's going to go into 10. So my message to you is you just keep going down the pattern. You just keep going down the pattern until middle of the year when you test again. You just follow the pattern where you're at. So like say we finished all the way to sort 14. Am I going to have to, what do I do next? I turn the page and see, are there any other sorts? So here, are there any other sorts for F after 14? Because when you get to the next page, what is it? The G. So I just keep going. I don't have to retest. I'm just going to keep going. Then I go to 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's only 5 weeks on 19. Am I going to test to see if they're ready for the next level? No. I'm going to keep going and go to H until the middle of the year testing. Middle of the year testing, I don't think I have it scheduled until January. Let me check. I think I have it scheduled in January. Week of we don't have it on here. I need to add that to the calendar. Is Marcia back there? No? Okay. I don't see it on middle of the year, so we'll have to look at that. Okay, so until the dates, usually in January. Okay, so you just keep going. So right now, if you've tested your students, and some of you guys are having to go back and reevaluate, and once you know where your kids are starting, do you know where to go in your book? So if they're a letter name, you know to go to chapter 5. If they're within words, you go to chapter 6. So we're good there? Once you find out what pattern your kids are at, do you know where to go within each of those chapters, right? Okay, so for Mrs. Nelson, does yours have it?
It's January, Form B, January 11th to 15th.
Okay, so January 11th through the 15th is our next testing. So you're going to keep week to week until January 11th. The week after we get back, or the 2 weeks after we get back from holiday break. So Miss Nelson, though, is doing F, right? She's got this pattern right here. So what is she going to do? She's going to open up, either go on Edmodo, or she's going to go to, let me cross out the picture. This is where you see up here, oops. Where you see up here, pattern F, stage, but it's also down at the bottom here, within word stage, so that you know you're in the right place. And so what is the sort that I have to go to? Sort, what number? 6, right? Starting on page 181, I go to sort 6. So I'm just going to go ahead. This one is sort 1. I'm going to go to sort 2, sort 3. I don't know why those are blank. Sort 5. There's sort 6. Okay, what are the key words for sort 6? Cap and cape. That's what you have there, cap and cape. So Mrs. Nelson is going to print this many copies for her students. But what you're going to see down here is that there's www. That does not stand for World Wide Web, right? That's your word wall words. And we don't just leave it in there. They don't just sort out www. So 3rd grade, what are your sight words for this week? Nation. Got. Better. 7. Nation. And against. Okay? So I would just type those words in. And then I'd print it up. I put www because I don't know when your class is going to go to what sort and when you're going to get there. So we leave it ww. I don't lock anything so that you're able to go ahead and just type in your words and file print. She prints off these papers just like I printed it off while you were at lunch today. So at your table, there are the words there. So I want you to take those words that's at your table. Yes, there's a bunch right up at that table. If you need copies, I put them at that back table where we have copies. No, 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 no.
Letter name B.
Uh-huh.
I noticed that there's so many of them. Like
Yeah,
it's
so figure out if you want to start with the capitals, and if you don't, then go to the first part.
so I could do 30.
Uh-huh.
And I could go down
Yeah,
35.
you got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so on your words, guys, I haven't told you to cut sort right yet. Little overachievers. I haven't gotten there yet. You're like, I know how this works. Cut sort right. No, don't cut sort right yet. No, that's okay. You want your kids to get to the point where you guys are today, where they see the words and they're like, oh yeah, it's Monday, let me cut sort right. Okay? You guys are so funny. Okay, so these are, I do this a number of different ways, and every year I kind of change it up depending on the mood and depending on the students that I have. I pretty much always, remember this morning I said before they can spell it, they have to read it. And so I start out with that, and I would say, boys and girls, I have a set of words for you, and as you know, we always read it before we even start to notice all the different things that's going on in these words. So what I'm doing for you right now is what Monday would look like. If there's no school on Monday, then what it would look like on Tuesday, okay? So I would each get a list of words, and as I said, stone, isn't it? It's a type of stone. It's usually found quite a bit in the Asian community. It's kind of a green stone. Jade, jade. Next word, dad. Let me scroll down. Next one is date. Let's talk about that word date. Date is called a multi-meaning word. Multi-meaning word. What I mean by that is it's a word that has a number of different meanings, right? So what would be a word? What would date mean to you? A date? Okay, so date as in Monday, Tuesday, the September, I guess it's October 1st today. October 1st is the date. Okay, what's another date? My dad and my mom went on a date. Gross, right? So date. So when two people go somewhere special together, they go on a date. Some of you guys are doing this. You're also talking about plums that have been dried up. I think that's what dates are. And date. Okay, so not plums, but raisins, like a date. So it actually has 3 different meanings. How about this one? Lab. When I think of a lab, I'm thinking of a dog. But it could also be science lab. Fat, face, keep going. Face, bad, and game. Let's keep going. Got, better, 7, nation, against. These 5 words, I would walk over to my word wall word where I put my words at the beginning of the week. Do you notice anything about those last 5 words? There are word wall words, aren't they? So they're part of our spelling. So boys and girls, my question for you is, I'm going to shrink this up a little bit. What do you notice about these words? Okay, raising your hand. What do you notice about these words? They all have A's in them. Are the A's located in the initial position? Is it located in the medial position? Or is it located in the final position? Talk to me about that. So when I say initial position, I'm talking about at the beginning of the word. When I talk about a medial position, it's in the middle of a word. And when I talk about a final position, I'm talking about at the end of the word. What are some things that you're noticing? Now I'm inviting you. So we read it first. Now I'm inviting you to notice. So my friend up front says, Mrs. Bowman, these words have A's. So what do you notice about where the A's are placed? In the middle. A medial placement. Medial placement. What else do you notice about these words? Silent E. There's a silent E. Now, your kids may not call it a silent E. They might just tell you the words end with E. And so I would say, you're absolutely right. Can you give me a word up there that ends with an E? Cape. Is that what you said, or I just called something out? Okay, so I would have this because I want to be able to manipulate it. So cape. What else? Bake. Let me look for my word bake. Normally I would have all of these here. These are my sight words from another time. I got it. Thank you. So teacher, classroom management, what would you have done? Would you be posting this, or would I have it beforehand? Yeah, I would have it up already. I love big Post-it notes. They just kind of get expensive. So what one teacher said is, I'm going to just get different colored paper, cut them into with a paper cutter, and then use tape. You can do that. What I did in my class is I took index cards, the index cards this size, and then I laminated it. And then after I laminated it, I went and bought roll of magnet tape, and I put that on the back. And then I would use a V pen, never red, because the red stains. The V pens, the overhead pens. You're so young. She's like, what? I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, so it's a pen that you can use for overheads that you can just spray and clean. Yes, like with transparencies. Okay, so we have, you said cape, and then you also said bake, right? Yes. Bake, so I'm going to put bake up here. Any other words that you see that have an E at the end? Jade. Jade, calling it out. Date. Oh, and game, that's already there, right? Cage. Face. Okay. So would you agree with me that all of these words here and hate would go here? Yes? Okay. So I have cape, I have bake, I have jade, I have face, I have game, I have date, I have hate, and I have cage. I want you to say some of these words slowly for me, and I want you to tell me the sound that the A makes. Does it say its name? In which case it's called a long vowel, A. Or if it doesn't say its name, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so let's look at the word cape. Okay, cape. Sorry. Okay, let's look at the word game, because it's up here. The word game. Say the word game for me. Game. Isolate the A sound. A. A. And so it says its name, doesn't it? How about hate? My friend up here, can you say the word hate for me? Now I want you to isolate the A sound. A. Right? Does it say its name? A. It's saying its name. So that's a long vowel pattern. What about here? Cage. My friend up here, can you say the word cage for me? Cage. Isolate the A. A, right? So it makes the A sound. So that's a long pattern. So somehow, some way, this E at the end is causing that A to make a long sound. And so what it is a lot of times teachers will tell us that that's a silent E, but there's actually a reason for it. Let me tell you a little secret. When you have one-syllable words, words that allow you to open up your mouth one time, where you can feel your mouth come down one time, if it ends with a vowel, that is known as an open syllable. Will you say that with me? Open syllable. So when a word, a one-syllable word opens or ends with a vowel, it's called an open syllable. Whenever you have an open syllable, the A, or whatever vowel it is, it's always going to be long. So I want you to do this with me. Do the L for, okay, open up your hands so you know it's open, right? And then I want you to kind of close your fingers so it makes the L. So it's a long sound. And then in our language, there's a symbol that tells whoever's reading our words that it has a long vowel sound, and it's called a macron. And I want you to go like this. It's just a line over the A. So it's open, long, macron. And so in this case, anytime you see a word that has a vowel at the end, the syllable before it is always going to be long. Always. Always. And that's why the E doesn't say anything, because it creates an open syllable. If you look at your teak, there's a teak that talks about an open or closed syllable. Now, what's happening with these words right here, like cap and cab and bad and cat? It doesn't say its name, right? Let me see. Makes the ah sound. Let's look at another one. Bad. Bad. Makes the ah sound. So it's making a short sound. Does this word, do these words have a vowel at the end? So it's not an open syllable, right? So if it's not an open syllable and it doesn't end with an E, and it ends with a consonant, it is called a closed syllable. A closed syllable. So I want you to do the close sign for me. So we're going to close, it's a closed syllable. The vowel is short, and you coat it with a breathe. You guys ever see that with the happy face? Okay. If this point that I'm doing with you right now is over your head in terms of I'm not comfortable with that, then just talk about an open and a closed syllable, because you should be talking about an open and closed syllable. If you're not comfortable with the breathe and the macron, you don't have to go ahead and do that. Okay? So you just talk about it being a closed syllable and the vowel is short. An open syllable, the vowel is long. So you can teach it that way. Or you can simply say, you have a one-syllable word. That means your mouth opens up what time. Let's go ahead and say the word cap. I want you to see if my hand, how many times my hand comes down. Cap. How many times did you see it come down? One. So that's a one-syllable word. Okay? Put your hand underneath your chin. Do for me game. Game. Did you feel it go one time? Yes. What causes your mouth to open is those syllables. Okay? Those voice syllables. So when we're looking at a word like this, like fat, would you say that fat sounds like cap, or does it sound like cape? Cap, fat, cape, fat. Cape, okay? How do you know that I put this in the right place? How do you know that I put fat in the right column? The middle sound? What about the middle sound? Is the same. What sound does it make? Ah, that short A sound. Is it an open or is it a closed syllable? Is it an open or a closed syllable? I'm making eye contact with you. Isn't it fat? So it ends in a consonant, so it is a closed, and so it makes the short vowel sound, right? It makes the short vowel sound. And then I had just some older sight words on here. I would also have my sight words up here. And I would say new, cap, new, cape, new. Where would it go? So it's another column. We call that oddball words. Words that don't fit the pattern, or some teachers are like, I don't want to call it oddball words. I want to call it word wall words, because that's what they are. Call it word wall words. My kids in my classroom, they used to call them crazy pile words. It's a crazy pile, Mrs. Bowman, because we never know what's going to go in our crazy pile. So we would have sound, cap, sound, cape, sound, crazy pile. And I would just go through. So boys and girls, what are you noticing about our sort? These words are words that what? Have a short vowel that makes the what sound? Ah. Our other column is what? Long vowel, or some kids will say they're words that end with E. That creates the long vowel sound. And what is it? What kind of sound does it make? A. And then what about this right here? That's your crazy pile. Okay? That's your Monday. That's your Monday. It should be, you're going to get started. When you first get started, it's going to take you about 15 minutes to do that. So then the part of that is what's called cut, sort, write. Cut, sort, write. Where I am recommending, hold on, you're not cutting yet. Hold on. I know. So the next part of that is cut, sort, write. But let me talk to you guys about the management part of this, because this can easily take time away. You only have, depending on your grade level K1 and 2, you have 150 minutes, right? 60 minutes reading, 60 minutes writing, you've got your 30 minutes. That's where you're going to pull this from. So in the morning, my recommendation for you is on Monday, you already have the words printed out and it's sitting on your student's desk before they come to class. So that when they walk in to do breakfast in the classroom, as they're having their breakfast, they can start cutting the words. You guys can put an envelope on there. One of the things that you can do is have a word study notebook, so something like this where you put an envelope on here, and then you just have them put their words right in there, and then at the end of the week they toss it, put in the new one on here. Doesn't have to be in a little folder like this, but it does help save papers when I'm wanting them to do their sorts. Okay, so Monday, I would recommend that on Monday. Now, some of you all already have like things like question of the day, bathroom breaks you might even have on there. I would challenge you to have your kids go to the bathroom before school starts rather than taking time from the classroom to do that. But I would just have your word list when they first come so that it's cut up. So after you introduce it, I usually will do it, and I'll show you a sample schedule. I'll usually go ahead and do it before I even start my guided reading, before I even start my writing. And so I do this, what I just did with you. We read the words first. It's taking me a little bit longer because I'm going back to teacher to student, back and forth, trying to talk you through it. So Monday, we read the words first. I invite them to notice. And then I start looking at the sorts with them. And then I don't have them do cut, sort, and write until literacy stations. So when I pull my first group, okay, so say I have 5 groups, right, because that's our goal is to get 5 groups. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's just say this front row are my 5 guided reading groups. I'm going to go ahead and meet with my low group first. It's just a habit for me. I meet with my low group first. Not that you guys are low, but for now, today you are. So this is my low group. To make sure that everybody does their word, their cut, sort, and write, I'm going to go ahead while I'm working with these kids. All of you all are going to do your first rotation in literacy station is cut, sort, write at your table. Okay? I'm working with this group during guided reading. When I'm done with this group, I'm going to pull this next group. 20 minutes is more than enough time for them to cut, sort, and write. We'll do a cut, sort, write here in just a little bit. Okay? This group that I just met with, where are they going to go for their first station? Cut, sort, write. So these guys have already done their cut, sort, write. When I pull them for guided reading, I might even go ahead and say, okay, show me your sort before let's go ahead and read it. And so I'm doing a quick check. I'm done with them for guided reading. I try to get 3 groups in. I go to here. What are they doing? But they've already done it. They go to another rotation, right? How about this group? They go to another station. How about that one group that I haven't met with yet? They're at a station. How about this group? They're at a station, and now I'm working with this group. Let me see what you all did for your sort. That's part of the reason I work with my low-level kids every day, because they're the ones that I need to give feedback more so. And so once I pulled the 3 group, then I only have 2 groups that I just need to go through and check real quickly. And I may go ahead and pull their papers as we're transitioning somewhere, either to go to specials or rotation. That's Monday. Cut, sort, write. It doesn't say cut, sort, glue. It's cut, sort, write because of the multisensory component of it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I want you to kind of clear off your desk. Now you can cut, sort, write. Okay. Cut, sort, write. At your table quickly. One of the things that I want to go ahead and kind of tell you about is when you're teaching your kids to cut these words, you'll have kids, you know how some of us are gold, meaning you like things done a perfect way? You're going to have kids that are like that. Tell them to get over it. They're going to go ahead and cut around first. They're going to cut around. And then they're going to cut strips and lay it on top of each other. That is the fastest way. Strips, long way. First grade, you might have to show this to your kids. Cut strips, You take the strips and you lay it on top of each other. And then you cut, cut, cut. Get over it. I say, yeah. Say, sweetheart, I love that you're being so good about cutting around the words, but I just need you to cut around the boxes. I want you to spend your time doing the cutting or the sorting rather than the cutting. Some of them. I'll be right with you. You're not doing anything. They're just cutting it. That's all they're doing. When they come in, they just cut their words like you guys are doing right now. They're not sorting it. They're just cutting it. So it's ready cut. That's all they're doing. It's just to save time cutting. Is that it? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so would you keep this up when they're cut sorted right now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And I wouldn't have all of them sorted together. I only do a couple of them. Yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
Okay, a couple of questions that came up. They said, well, if you've got it sitting on your table, you've not gone over it with them while they're having breakfast. Just cutting. They're not sorting. They're not doing any of those cut sort right yet. They're just cutting it. You're just saving a little bit of time. And then they put it in a sort. Okay? The other part of that is, do I leave all of this up so that kids are just looking up here and copying? When I do a sort with them, I don't go through all of the words. I just do part of it, and then I leave off and say, okay, you guys have the pattern. Go ahead and do the rest on your own. Okay, so most of you all, I want you to now sort your words. This is what you would do in stations. And how you do this can look a number of different ways. Oh, there it is. I often will make my kids a sorting folder. And all I do is I take a construction paper. You guys see this up here? Okay, so it's just a construction paper. And I just fold it about 3 inches from the top or from the bottom. And then I fold it in half. And then I fold it in half again. So that when you open it, they have a sorting folder. So when they cut their words for breakfast, this would be on their desk with their words. So they cut their words and then they put it into the pockets. I staple the ends so that the words don't fall out. And because sometimes though my kids will lose these, so I make extra copies of the words. I just have them in my extra pile. And then I always have construction paper. As a matter of fact, I even bring them to all my trainings. So I just fold it at the bottom, and then I use sticky notes so that they can keep using it, and they can sort that way. So when they go to the stations, that's what they end up doing, so they sort their words. There's also sorting mats, and that should be on Edmodo. And these I just created on the computer. Okay, so you've got to cut a word sorting mat. So they cut the words, they lay it on here. Each one fits in here, and then they write it. Cut, sort, write. This is one I just Googled. So each row are their words, so that I'm doing bake, cap, word wall words are my sight words. Game, bad, base, fat, lab, date, dad, cage, jade, map, cab. I don't see cape on here. Oh. And hate. Okay. Cap. So that could be a sorting. And then they would move it and write it, move it and write it. But my only worry with this is if you're having them write on here, is that you got to make copies, right? So the cheapest way to go ahead and do that is to have some kind of word study notebook. And so all they're doing is they're drawing their lines, short, long, oddball, crazy pile, or word wall words, and they just write it in. If you already have a literacy station binder or folder, you can have them just write it on there. It doesn't have to say word study. You can have that as well. Okay, so that's Monday. Monday is cut, sort, write. You do it during stations. When they go home for homework, they do exactly the same thing. I used to have parents call me and say, Mrs. Bowman, this new spelling that you're doing, I am so confused. I don't know. Johnny doesn't know how to do it. And I would always say, gosh, that's really interesting, because whatever they do at home, they've already done with me in class. And that's when they're like, are you kidding me? I say, nope. Everything that we do in class is an additional practice at home. And so what they end up doing, and that's why I like this or the word study notebook, is then they just put these inside their reading bag, so when they go home for homework, I don't have to make another copy of the word list. Their words just go here, they take it out, they cut, sort, and write at home. And they just write it either on a piece of paper or they just do a second sort here. Okay, cut, sort, write, Monday. What they do in class, they do for homework. And I think I gave you guys one of my sheets that has homework on there. That's one that you can go ahead and add on to, have it as a starting point. Cut, sort, write. Okay, so if you're sitting here going, I just listened to you, but I can't remember anything that you just did. It's all in your book. It is on Planning for Construction, which is on Chapter 4. Okay, page 119. Tab in your book, page 119. You still have to teach word study. Now there's a purpose, and it's connected to where most of your kids are at. So page 119, tab that. This is how you're going to do it, your introduction. So once the first small group is gathered, so remember that with Kathy Gansky, she's doing small groups. We're doing whole group. I hold each card up and I show it to the group, and I ask my students to corely identify the words. So she kind of walks you through that. Okay, page 119. Okay, so backtrack a little bit. Is there anybody in here that still has to test their kids? Okay, so I still have some. Okay, so for those of you guys that still need to test your kids, it's all good. You're probably going to do it next week, and that's what you're going to put on your calendar. So next week, do you guys know, for those of you guys that need to test your kids, do you know where you're going to go in your book to find Form A? Okay. For those of you guys that have already graded your kids, some of you all are having to go back and look at the regrading. Some of you guys are good. And so you're going to look at your sheets, your class summary sheet, and you're going to find out where your kids are at, right? Once you know where your kids are starting, do you know where to go in your book to find out where you're going to start? Okay, so if you're letter name, you go to chapter 5. If it's within words, you go to chapter 6, and so on. Once you go to that chapter and you find out the sort that you're starting, do you know where to get your words? Yes, because you should have received an email. If not, you will be getting an email. If not, it's all on Edmodo. Okay, in Edmodo, when you come in, there are up on top, and I'll pull that up so you guys can see it, but there's a little icon that says folders. You click on folders, you scroll down to word journeys. Okay, so you know where to go ahead and get your words. So Monday, you print off the words that you're going to start with. Some of you guys probably have done that. So you're going to go ahead and read the words first with your kids, right? Then you're going to invite them to notice. And then you're going to send them to their stations to do their cut, sort, write. That's Monday. Questions? Alex, are you hearing this question? Palabras? Palabras a su paso means just words their way. It's the Spanish version of words their way, so they all kind of come together. Okay? And if, DL, if you guys kind of want to send just about 5 minutes afterwards, we can really talk about if you have some question of where exactly does this happen in DL, we can talk about that if you have some questions. Okay, so we done for Monday? Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's all in your stations. It's all in your station. So let's look at that sheet that you have that I gave you. What did I have for my Tuesday? Word hunt. So I want you to just open whatever page in your book, and I want you to look for words that have a short A pattern, and I want you to see how many words you have that have a open syllable, meaning it ends with an E. That's okay, you're fine. And it has a long A syllable. Just flip through anywhere in your book where there's text. What your kids are going to be doing is they're going to go into their reading bag, whatever guided reading book they're doing, and they're hunting for words. Hunting for words. You want a minimum of 10 words. Kathy Gansky says an effective word hunt is a minimum of 10 words. Yes. Yeah. And if they put that on their word hunt, then that would be something that you can talk to them about as well. Give you guys just a minute or two.
Like CVC words or just any word?
Short A,
Okay.
long A with a silent E. Long A. But it can't be long A that's spelled with A-I or A-Y, because we're only looking at an open syllable with an E, a silent E. Okay, I'm not necessarily going to have you find 10. Did anybody find any words as you just open randomly in your book? What is it? What is it? Lack. Oh, a lack of, yes. She has lack, L-A-C-K, L-A. It has an A. And a way that you can check that if your kids aren't sure, if they say, I think it is, then you say, okay, well, let's look and see. Is it a closed syllable? Does it end with a consonant? Does it have is it a one-syllable word? Yes, yes. It is a short A. Any other words? What is it? Stage. Very nice. St-A. And it has that open syllable, right? It has an E at the end. One more. Name. Same. Okay, that's all they're doing. Word hunt. What this little activity does is it connects spelling, it connects reading, and it connects writing. They're having to pull it and they're having to write it. They have to think about the pattern. Now, what if they have a word like have? Some of your kids are going to write that down. They're like, oh, ends with an E. There's an A. Have. They're going to come to you. Those we call our rule breakers. So if they have that, that's like, oh, I'm so glad you found that word. Does it fit our pattern? Well, it looks like it could, but it doesn't. Why not?
It's because it didn't say its name.
It doesn't say its name. It's a rule breaker. There's things in our language that sometimes breaks the rules. Okay?
Kids that are like non-readers and they're doing the picture code, what should we have them do?
Look for pictures that relate. So you might do, like, instead of a word hunt, you're going to do a picture hunt. So whatever they do here in class, so for homework, what are they doing? Word hunt. They just can't turn in the same words that they worked on in class, right? So you want a different set of words. Word hunt. Okay, so that's Monday. That's Tuesday is word hunt. What if you don't want to do word hunt and you want to do a speed sort on Tuesday? Can you do that? Yes, doesn't matter to me. And actually, if you go into your book, here's another great place to tab, page 123. 123. 123. It has sorting variations. You have a writing sort on the bottom of page 123. On 124, you have a blind or a no-peek sort. 125 is a speed sort, so you race against the clock. Let's try that. I want you to kind of clear your table a little bit, have your words in front of you so you have a little bit of space. Some of your kids will try to cheat and already have it set up. You're going to say, I want you to shuffle your words. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Shuffle your words for me. Shuffle your words. If I'm doing this quickly, this can be a quick activity, but they can practice it during literacy station. Okay, hands up. Hands up. Ready, set, go. Sort. So if you're thinking, I don't have any timers. Ooh, hands up. I see a winner over there. Ooh, I see another one. There's another hand. There's another hand. Whoop, there's another hand. Okay, I want you to shuffle, shuffle, shuffle for me. Shuffle it for me. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Don't be a cheater. Look at the people at your table. Shuffle, shuffle. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Okay, hands up. Now as you're sorting your words, I want you to read it before you sort it. And go. Hands up, 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 hands up. Notice I'm not calling names out, I'm just calling hands up so that you're able to go ahead and they're still working. They don't know who exactly it is. Okay. Speed sort, you can do it that way. My kids love to challenge the teacher. They always said, Miss Bowman, today is, I can't remember, I thought I did it on Wednesday. It is Wednesday. On Wednesday, I'd come in and they said, Miss Bowman, it's speed sort day. And so I said, okay. So I'd take my words and they would time me. They would say, okay, ready, set, go. And I'd go and I'd do my speed sort and I'd say, stop. And then they tell me, that's 15 seconds. Whoa. They don't realize I'm an adult. But anyway, okay, 15 seconds. So I write 15 seconds. So while they're at their station, they're trying to beat my time. Another way you can do speed sort is that you just have timers at their station and they just time themselves. Now if they cheat and they close it beforehand, it doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to be a timer police. The whole idea is they're constantly looking at the words and seeing the patterns. Okay? So I want you to shuffle those words. Shuffle them again. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. I want you to look at the direction for buddy sort. I'm just going to read it to you. It says, work with a buddy, a partner, and have your buddy call out the words as you write them. As you write them. See how that's a much more difficult one? Okay, so if you can, like, if one of them calls it, then you just are able to go ahead and write it. Okay, so have one person writing. If you have an odd number, listening up, if you have an odd number like this table right here, if you have an odd number, then just go ahead while maybe you're calling it out. Kia and My friend over here will go ahead and write it, and then one of them will have you go through it. Okay? So, and it doesn't matter to me where you write it. Just take this paper, your weekly word, and just flip it to the back. As they're calling out the words, you're sorting them, so you're not looking at the words. Okay, so let me give you an example, because I'm seeing faces like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so I'm going to pull my words. I'm going to shuffle. I'm going to shuffle. Trying to think. Susanna, can I have you come up here, please? Okay, let me model for you real quickly. You're going to have to, the first time you do this, you know you're going to have to model with your kids first, right? Okay. So this is Susanna's paper. I'll get you a marker. Do you have one? Oh, here's one. Okay, Susanna, draw your 3 columns. So draw your 3 columns. Oh, you're going to do it perfectly too. Okay, she's going to look at me. I'm going to say bad, bad. Date. Cab. Cage. You see how she's looking at my mouth? And she's an adult, so she's like, yeah, I can do this. But most of your kids, they're going to go, ab. Oh, that goes there. Okay? Let me do another one. Dad. That's it. All she's doing is now, she's not having anything to look at. She's simply listening for the sound. I purposely have buddy sort on Thursday. Why do I have this on Thursday? It allows them to practice it without having to write their words 10, 15 times for a test. I want them to listen for the pattern because on Friday, they're not necessarily going to have these words, right? Okay. So the word hunt, the speed sort, and this buddy sort are literacy station activities. It's what goes in your working with words. That's what they do. They practice the same words. So if you're a teacher that has 2 groups, does it matter that you have 2 groups on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday? No, because they're practicing with the words and patterns that they have. And we'll talk about multiple groups in just a little bit, okay? Just focus on one group right now. So Monday, cut, sort, write. Give me a thumbs up if you're feeling good about that. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, literacy station activities, which is word hunt, speed sort, buddy sort. And if you get bored with that, your kids will not get bored with it. At first when I thought, my goodness, I'm going to do this for how long? Every day, all year long, they're going to be so bored. But if you get bored with it, remember that on page 123, all the way to page 120, 130 are all about sorts. Okay? 123 all the way to 130 is all about sorts. And if you Google and just say word study or word sorting activities, you can have more. And they might even have little fancy different things, especially things like Pinterest or something like that. Keep it simple though. Don't get so caught up in making it pretty. Keep it simple. When you start to try to make it pretty, you create more work for yourself, and you're doing it for you, not your students. The focus is on the words. How are y'all doing? Good. Okay, if I keep going, I know I didn't give you a break. I just kind of kept going. But if you guys give me 10 more minutes, we'll be good. And we can leave at 3, or I can give you a break and we can leave at 3:30. 3? Raise your hand if you're good if we just keep going. Thank you. All righty. Okay. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, now it is Friday. Friday, I don't say, oh, it's test day. I just say, show me what you know. This is your opportunity to show me what you know. Question? I thought I saw a hand.
So on Monday, they don't like the whole cut sort and write. They do it with me, correct? No. So I teach it first.
Just like we did today. So cut, sort, and write. We read the words together. And then I showed them the words, and I said, what do you notice? Remember how I had all the words up here? What do you notice about the words? And then I already had my words either like in a card like I had, or I can do them in a small like this. What do you notice about the words? And I start moving it. I only do a couple. And then that's it. Boys and girls, you're going to finish your cut, sort, write during your literacy station. On Friday, they don't have, because you're doing the test.
So, like, I guess what I'm asking is, in the literacy station, because they only go to 3 days,
Uh-huh.
right? So one of them, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, has to be worked. On Friday, they actually go to 3 different.
They can go, yeah, if you want to, or you can leave your sort there. And on Friday, you can have a child that didn't get through their sort, go to that one. Because you only have, they can only go to 3, right? Yeah. I would just leave it there. So on Friday, when you do your blind sort, whichever kids didn't get to that station, that's where they'll end up. Okay? We good? Okay, you should have gotten a paper that has 1 through 10 on it. 1 through 10. It looks just like this. Okay, I want you to put your name on your paper, and we're going to do show what you know. We're going to do show what you know. I want us to do it together because I want to show you how to grade these papers. For our samples here, I'm using different sight words, not necessarily the ones that you gave me today, nations and all of that. Okay, number 1. You guys ready? Do you need a little bit more time? Okay. Should have your paper. Number 1, found. They found a lost dog at the park. Found. Number 2, grape. Grape. If you can spell date, you can spell grape. You've been working on the word date all week. Notice how I'm attaching it to a pattern that we've been working on all week. Have we looked at the word grape at all? No. Does it have an A consonant E pattern? Yes. Our focus is on the pattern. Grape. She likes to drink grape juice. Number 3 is answer. I want you to spell this without the W. Think about kids and how they would write it. Answer. A-N-S-E-R for right now. I know that's not the correct spelling. The correct answer for question 1 is letter B. Answer. Are you guys okay? I'm hearing murmuring. These are sight words, okay? This would have been, I have 5 of the sight words. The sight words stay the same. I don't just change them up. The sight words are the 5 that always stay throughout the week because they're sight words. Word wall words. Number 4, tramp. Tramp. I know you guys go to that ugly place I'm talking about. Please don't tramp on my flower beds. Dirty, dirty minds. You went there. Please don't tramp on my flower bed. Tramp. Ask yourself, is this an open syllable or is this a closed syllable? Think about what's coming and the clues that I'm giving kids. Is this an open syllable? Is this a closed syllable? Tramp. Oh, don't tell me. I want you to just think about it. You will have kids do that too. Number 5, learn. Another word wall word. Learn. He will learn to play the game with his friend. Learn. Number 6. Number 6 is scale. Instead of spelling it with a C, I want you to spell it with a K. Mom uses the scale to see how much weight she has lost. Mom uses the scale to see how much weight she has lost. And no, she did not toss that scale against the wall. Scale. Number 7, wash. Wash. It would be another word wall word. Wash. Make sure to wash your hands before sitting down to eat. Wash. Number 8, mane. Okay, listen to this. Mane. To stay on the horse, she had to grab its mane. I want you to spell it, though, as M-A-I-N, like main idea. Maybe in your room somewhere, they saw the word mane and go, oh, the answer's right there. Mane. Is this an open syllable or is this a closed syllable? If you can spell hate, you can spell mane. Number 9, grand. Grand. Another word wall word. The new restaurant had a grand opening today. Grand. Boys and girls, the last one, number 10, late. The movie started late by about 10 minutes. Late. If you can spell hate, you can spell late. And you wouldn't normally leave your sorts like that, right? Okay. And you wouldn't leave your sorts up here either for show what you know. Okay, you got to take them down. You got to take them down. Now for sight words, it's up to you. I'm always torn about that because for sight words, if they get to that word, I want them to get into the habit of using the word wall words. But some teachers are like, nope, it's a test, it's a test, it's a test. So I'm going to pull that down. I will respect whatever decision you want to go with that. Okay? So let's see what that looks like when we're grading it. Okay, so number 1 was found. And you would have spelled it correctly, right? You good? So we'll keep moving. Grape, you would have spelled it correctly, right? And then you have answer. It's a word wall word. Doesn't fit any pattern. It's either right or it's wrong. In this case, it's wrong. Next one is tramp. Tramping on the flower bed. Number 5 is learn. Number 6 is scale. Notice how I gave the student what? Half of a point because they got the A, silent E, the pattern. They got the pattern. They didn't spell the whole word right, but my focus is for them to get the pattern and then ultimately get the whole word right. So I still give them half of a point. Wash. Main. They spelled it M-A-I-N. Do I give them a half a point? No. The whole idea is I really wanted them to be able to see that this is a multi-meaning, well, not only a multi-meaning word, it's a homophone, right? Okay. So if we've been working on vowel, consonant, E, that's where they should have gone. And then grand, and then late. So how many errors here? 1, 2, 3. I gave them half a point for this, so I have 7.5 over 10. In my report card, I'm going to put word study 75%. I don't really call it a spelling, I call it a word study. The grade is 75%. In my grade book, I would put it as word study. It's a word study grade. Okay, say your students bomb this test. Okay, they got 40%. They bomb it. And it's your whole class that bombs it. So next week, are you going to go ahead? Are you going to go ahead and redo these same words? No, because now I want you to go back in your book where we started our pattern with pattern 6. I think we were at page 181. Page 181. So if my class bombs this A for cap, or I should say A, cap, A, cape, what happens the following week? It's the same, right? Sort 7 is still practicing the same pattern. Say they bomb that again. We just go to the next sort because now it's I and then I consonant E. It's the same process. Open, close syllable, short, long. It just keeps spiraling all the way to even week 14. See how, actually for these ones, look at sort 10. So it introduced the I and then it backtracks again. When we talk about spiraling, this is a true spiral. It keeps coming back to it. Your kids are going to continue to get it. Okay, so Monday, cut, sort, right. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it doesn't matter to me which sorting variation you want to do. I highly recommend the word hunt because it connects the reading, the writing, and the spelling together. Friday, show what you know. Okay? So, where are you going to go ahead and do this in your day? Okay? So that's where for K1 and 2, it would show up in your 90-minute or your 30-minute blocks because you have 60 minutes for reading, 60 minutes for writing. Third, fourth, and fifth, we talked about this at Literacy Stations yesterday, right? So you would end up taking a little bit of time from your, you still have to have your 60 minutes for reading, but for grades 3, 4, and 5, you're going to take 15 minutes from your writing block on Monday and Friday to do these activities. Okay? So you may start off your writing this way. Okay? I'm seeing some confused looks. We're talking about Friday's test. Friday's test. On Friday's test. And then when you introduce the words, it takes up time to go ahead and do that. So real quickly, because your face is... Okay, so K2. Nope. K2. K2. Actually, it's not even K, it's 1, 2. So you have 60, 60, 30 minutes. This is your reading, this is your writing. On Monday, you introduce your word wall words and your word journeys on Monday. On Friday, it's show what you know. The other times, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, during this 30-minute block, you may be either doing a shared reading, teacher read aloud. You can even use part of that time to pull another group, another guided reading group. If your grades 3, 4, 5, and I think I have a 6th grade teacher here, you have 60 and 60. You have your reading and your writing. This is a non-negotiable. We don't touch the 60 minutes. That's for reading. So when on Monday, we end up taking from here, so this becomes 45 minutes for writing. On Monday, we take the 15 minutes to do, and actually it works out to about 40, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, so we're doing word while words, word journeys. And then on Friday, we make it a 45-minute. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday could be a whole group. You see that? Okay. Questions? It has to come from the writing block. This is just when you first introduce the words, and this is when you do the tests, because you have to do it whole group when you first introduce it, but everything else goes through your stations. Just on Monday and Friday. Yes?
If a dyslexic friend, because I have 3 in my class,
Yes.
and they're the only ones that do not pass, do they get another opportunity to make up that grade?
Please, please hold your dyslexic. I get the opportunity to be able to supervise the dyslexia program. Your dyslexic students are very bright. They're very smart. They have a deficit in the area of spelling because of phonological awareness. Hold them accountable, but how you're going to hold them accountable is they have to use the coding that they've learned in their MTA. And so encourage your kids to say, and a lot of times these are kids that you will almost ultimately will have a smaller group with them because they're the ones that are going to be really low compared to the rest of your class. It's where their deficit is. That's where the disability is. The beauty of it is that they can be taught how to spell those words. So don't let your kids use that as an excuse. Well, I'm dyslexic, I can't spell. No, I know you're dyslexic and it's hard for you to spell, but use the strategies that you've learned with your dyslexia teacher, which is coding. The proper name for it is coding. Use your coding. Okay? So I want to close with just this quick video. Amy Ware, for those of you guys that are visual, Amy Ware is the iCoach over at Garner. Okay. Shane, do I have to flip it around so that the sound goes into my computer? I do? Okay. Give me 1 sec. Oh, it is on there. Okay. I just plugged this in then, right? Yes. Awesome. Yeah, so YouTube. No, it's you guys, right? Yes.
All right, so we're going to start with our new words for this week. And the first thing that we're going to do is that you guys are going to read them together with me, okay? So the first word is hat, and I'll put it down here so everybody can see it. The next word is...
Is it too loud? Okay. I have hearing issues, so sometimes I'm like, it sounds perfect. Alex, if you're back there, can you do the light for me? Or somebody? Awesome. Thank you. Okay, this is Amy. A couple of things that you're going to notice. I want to go ahead. She did this video to model for her teachers what it looks like in a small group situation. Okay, so as I said earlier, Garner does 3 small groups, and they do it, they take up their whole 30-minute block, and that's what they put their time into. But I want you, the focus for me is to see the conversation with students. The only thing I would change here when Amy and I talked about the video is to pull away from, I would place my word there because it has an O. I would place the word there because it has the sound, focusing on the patterns in the words.
Pet. Can you see those okay, Kaylee? Okay. And the next word is? Pot. So let's look at some other words. We also have this one.
Yes.
Yet. We also have this one. Great.
This is
How about
Monday.
that one? Dot. This one is? All right. This one? Good. How about this one? Hot. That's right. How do you know it's not hat? It has the O, not the A.
So that's
Very
where I'm
good.
saying,
What
no, don't
does
say it has the
now,
O, it
as
has
you
the
saw some
ah
of these
sound.
words, what did you start noticing? Kaylee, what did you notice about any of them?
That there's some of them that are sight words.
Oh, you saw some sight words, like which one?
First, through, and before.
Okay, so some of those were your word wall words? All right. Eva, what else did you notice about these words?
I noticed there are
Do they have anything that's the same about them? Keaton, what did you see?
See how she's asking questions to guide?
Oh, we see some ETs in there.
OT, ET.
Okay, well what we're going to do next is we're going to sort them, and I have underlined your 3 header words. These are the 3 ways we're going to sort. So we're going to use this word. Oh, you're right, there's number 3. And this word hat, and this word was pot.
So these
Okay,
are the
so
3
if I
words that's
pulled
in your
out this
book, or your
word,
2 words like
lot.
cap and
Let's
cape
see where
today.
it would go. Hat, lot. Pet, lot. Pot, lot. Brayden, which one do you think it would go? Pot, lot. How did you know that?
Good, because they both have an O,
They-
and the rest doesn't.
Oh, okay. So you were looking at that O, that ah sound in the middle. Well, let's try this one. Hat sat, pet sat, pot sat. Where do you think it goes?
Hat,
Oh, with hat. Why'd you say that, Eva?
because it has an AT.
So we have hat and sat. They both have the AT. All right, this one's for you, Kaylee. Hat cat, pet cat, pot cat.
Hat, sat.
Okay, so you think it should go with this group there? Can you see this? All right. Let's see. Keaton, you want to do this one?
Yeah.
Hat, dot, pet, dot, pot, dot.
Pot, dot.
Pot, dot. How did you know?
O.
Ah, with the O. Same thing. Okay, so let's try this word. Which one was this one?
Before.
Before. Hat, before. Pet, before. Pot, before.
It's an odd ball.
It's an oddball. So what do we do with the oddball?
Put it on the side.
Oh, so it's going to be a separate group. Very good. Okay, so now I'm going to give you this one. I'm going to give you this one.
I would have
I'm gonna
stopped
give
right
you
here
this
for
one.
Monday.
I'm going to give you this
Then
one.
they would
All
do
right.
the rest of the cut,
So,
sort, and write during
Brayden,
their
can you put
rotation.
your word
You
in
won't
the
have to do
right
the whole thing.
column. Where do you
Okay.
think it should go?
Pet yet.
Pet yet. Very good. All right, Kaylee, where do you think your word should go?
Pot.
Pot, hot. Eva, you want to do yours?
Hat. Net.
Hat, mat. And Keaton, where does yours go?
Bet.
Pet, bet. Okay, I think y'all did great with that, so I'm going to give you some other ones. All right, go ahead and put yours in the right place. Let's start with Keaton.
That. Pet.
Okay, goes over here. Eva, where does yours go? Through. Oddball. Brayden, where does yours go?
What's that say?
We have the word first. First.
Amy is taking anecdotal notes as well. there's a student that she keeps.
Which group
Notice
would
how
it
she keeps
best go
taking
in?
anecdotal notes on.
The oddball group, because it doesn't match any of those patterns.
They all have 3. If it has 4, I just put it over there.
Okay, so
So
it
my
has
friend
more
there
letters
is
than these. That's
focusing on
another
how
way to
many
sort.
letters
How about
are in
yours,
the
Kaylee?
words rather than the
And
sounds.
oddball too, you had the word line. All right, I've got the very last one.
Mine goes in some of these.
Okay, go ahead, put them in there. Okay. All right. Goes there. Good. How about yours, Eva? That's right. You're both right. Yeah, it does go there. And how can I check to make sure that that one goes in this group? What could I do, Braden, to check?
Because it has an E and that has an A.
All right, so let's say all these words and make sure we put them in the right spot. Okay, so say them with me. Hat, sat, cat, mat, fat. And these are all the same because they have
A.
the A
in the middle.
and the T, the at. Okay, let's say this group, make sure we got them all right. Pet, yet, bet, let, set. Y'all agree? Okay, how about this group? Pot, lot, dot, hot, not. How come all these go together?
Because the OT.
The OT, ot. How about this group? This one was
Before,
through,
first, line,
much. And what group was that?
oddball.
The oddball group. If you can please pull out your header words and have those at the top.
So this is what they would be doing in their stations.
Okay.
And we're looking for hats, pets, and pots. Now, I would like for you to sort your words just like we did as a group. But freeze, because I'm going to time you.
So now she's
because I
moved
wanna
into
see how quickly
Tuesday,
you
which
can do
is
it
the speed
today.
sort.
And then next
So
time
she's
that
showing
you go
her
to a
teachers a
group
number
by
of
yourself,
different ways
hold on,
to
don't
do
start
this.
Yet, don't start yet. Then I'm going to see if you can beat your fastest time. Okay? So when I say go.
This one's not even line.
Oh yeah, you don't have to use that one. Who's ready? Are you ready? On your mark, get set, go. Oh, done already. Wow. Good. Got it done. Okay. So on your envelope, I wrote down how long it took you. So Keaton, you sorted in 47 seconds, 35 seconds, a minute and only 10 seconds, and 22 seconds.
You see how she
So when
switched
you
it?
put
Instead
your
of
words
saying you
together,
did it in
and the next
65
time maybe you're in
seconds, she
Daily
said
5
1
doing
minute
some
and
word
5
study,
seconds
then you can
because
sort
it
them
didn't
again
sound as
and
long.
get a timer and see if you can beat your time. That's what we call a speed sort, to see if you can even beat your time again. Okay, but now it looks like everybody got their sorts done perfectly, so I'm going to give you back your journals. And let's see, so this one was yours. Oh, don't mess them up. No, because now you're going to write them down in your journals. And I think an easy way to do this would just be to draw your 4 lines, because you're going to have 4 groups, and make sure to put the header word at the top. Or 3 lines. I guess you'll need 3, because then you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. There you go. 1, 2, 3. So we need 1 more line here. There you go.
That's it. Okay. So hers is a little bit different. It doesn't mean I show that for you because I wanted you to kind of see what it looks like when you're with your students, and then what they're doing when they're on their own at stations. Okay. Thank you so much for spending the day with me. Hopefully this will be a tool that you can go back and use in your class. If you have any questions, talk to your instructional coaches. If you're wanting to do more than one group, we talked to the iCoaches a couple of weeks ago about what that looked like. So talk to your instructional coach. Have a wonderful evening.